Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO. Free, impartial advice on all your debt.
This is something that comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
Razabani for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. With me, all the way from the great city of Philadelphia, as known as Philly, my man Bryant Jennings. Bryant, how are we doing?
I'm all good, man. Just relaxing, chilling.
Before we proceed, how's the family? How are your partners, children, etc.? How's everybody with this COVID stuff? And things got a bit better now?
Well, everybody's good. I was gone for 2 months, so this is my first whole week back. So just getting back in touch with everybody. Everybody's alive and well and safe. Alhamdulillah, and it's all good. COVID can't stop me. So but it's definitely kind of bad. Within the city limits and pretty much all around the world. But we dealing with it.
No, absolutely. You mentioned that you were here in the UK. We know you were also assisting Anthony Joshua, sparring with him during the last couple of weeks. I was hoping to catch you around this time today, actually. The plan was to catch you today, but you obviously had to go back. Question one, we come to the fight later, but obviously you were also in his camp for Ruiz too. So you've been with Anthony Joshua before.
Right.
He's been out of the ring for a year. Had you seen improvements in his armor, the way he was analyzing fights or looking at this particular fight?
Yeah, well, I definitely seen improvements. Basically because, for one, we were training together. But most of the time in training, he doesn't put that all in one motion, during training camp, and you get to see everything unroll the way it needs to unroll throughout the fight. So to see that transition, it was definitely nice. It was definitely nice to see because, it was like certain things that he would work on and it was like, oh wow, okay. So when he brought it out during a fight or like the way he displayed it throughout the fight, it was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. But I had a very comfortable feeling that he was going to do what he was going to do, and I didn't doubt him not once.
I know he's got quite a big team around him: Rob McCracken, Angel Fernandez, and a few other trainers that have come in. And I have seen some criticism on social media where he's got too many people in the team, too many different coaches. But surely, the more people you have of knowledge, the better you will become by gaining things from all of them.
Yeah, for sure, man. Look, man. Here in America, we have American football where we have defensive coach, offensive coach, special teams coach, wide receiver coach, running back coach. We have a coach for each position, and sometimes these coaches they get to the point where they think that they can do it all, and you can't. Even for a person such as myself, right now I'm in the process of putting together the thought first. It starts as a thought. To pretty much move around and do what I can wherever I am in the world. It's like I can't literally just subject myself to just one trainer anymore because there's so many different things that you can learn from each person, and the best teacher or the best person is the one who can put it all together. A lot of people can't work with other people. They can't go off of other people's plans. Their plan is so bald-headed and so bullheaded and so stubborn that that they can't necessarily implement what they do best to some type of formula.
Obviously, on Friday was the weigh-in. We saw Kubrat Pulev kind of goad Anthony Joshua. He did say, "I respect you," but kept saying, "I will show you. I will show you." And we saw Anthony Joshua kind of react in a way that we've never seen before, where he's normally cool, calm, and collected, and he normally says, "I'll see you in the ring," but Anthony kept going to his face. They fist bumped each other about 100 times. Not just touch each other, but punch each other's fists together. Do you feel like he got into Anthony Joshua's head?
No, got into his head now. He didn't get into his head, but it was just like it was more like it was just his reaction. He didn't get into his head. It was just his reaction. It was like stop playing with me. Like it's sometimes when some people would test you in a certain way, you still gotta let them know like yo like nah, this ain't that. Sometimes you have to at least stand up. You don't have to react in such a way where you're taking yourself out of character. You just you react in a calm way.
And obviously, fight night. How did you assess his performance going from round 1 all the way to round 9?
No, it was good. His performance was definitely good. I actually thought that the fight should have been stopped in the 3rd round once that boy started turning around and running. Once you start turning around and running and you don't want no more, then ref, wave that off. Like what you thought that was that wasn't no 8 count. That was the fight is over. He didn't want any more.
I've seen a few people say that the fight should have been called off after the 3rd round. But when you look back now from round 4 to round 9, he took a lot of punishment, Kubrat, but he stood his ground. He didn't go down again until the 9th round. He got caught with uppercuts to right hand. I think he put a lot more pressure from rounds 4, 5, and 6 onwards. But were you impressed with how Kubrat stayed in there for the full 9 rounds?
Impressed. I mean, it was what fighters do. He did a good job at doing it. I'm not unimpressed, but I'm not impressed as well to say, but he did what fighters, what a good fighter does, and he expressed a fight. He didn't lay down. So in that way, yes, I'm impressed. But it's not as if I didn't see that in him. For me to be impressed by him to do something, which means I didn't see that in him to do it. I saw Kubrat to do such a thing. So it was a good job for him to survive. He did a good job. I'm not impressed, but because that's him. But he did a good job at surviving a lot of grandma, huh? Yeah, grandma, she likes to sit in the back and watch the fight too. But yeah, I'm on an interview. Yeah. He did his thing. He did his thing until AJ just put it on him a little more. AJ was very, very, very calm and very very, very patient.
We saw in the 3rd round with Anthony Joshua when he dropped him and Kubrat got back up, he jumped on him, started throwing his uppercuts, his left hooks, his right hooks. And normally when Anthony Joshua gets caught, it's when he's throwing his punches. His defense he forgets about the defense. Mm-hmm. In the past, we saw that with Andy Ruiz, we've seen that with Dillian White. We've seen something different yesterday where he was more in control of how much he was loading in and then he was stepping back out. Is that something that you learn with experience and by fight?
Yeah, that's definitely something you learn with experience. But I just think that, he'll get better at that. And, yesterday it still could have been, a all offense, no defense type of thing. I just think that, he was swinging them things so hard that it's like, yo, like you don't want to mix him with that. So I just think that may be the reason why Kubrat's he's not like a fighter to where so he'll be trading and mixing like that. But if he could have mixed, it could have possibly happened. I mean, that's pretty much with anything, but it could have possibly happened. But I just think that, he definitely it did kind of seem as if, he didn't want to go in too much on his offense. And he kind of like you say, just pressed the gas and then got off of it, pressed the gas, got off on it, and not necessarily do too many things. He looked at much better at performing those type of exchanges. And, I was impressed with that.
Right. Obviously Joshua's probably got one of the best list of fighters on his resume that he's beaten amongst all the current heavyweights. If you look at the last 6-7 people that he have fought, the Parkers, Takams, Dillian Whites, Charles Martins, Brazils, etc., etc. So How good can he become?
I mean, only time will tell. You know, you can't. I mean, you can't measure that. You know, like, I mean, you can't measure that. You know, he's already a good fighter. He's already like, you know, he's already a superstar. Um, you know, we can't ask too much of a possibility that we have no control over, and he has no control over. The better, he can definitely get better, but you know, in the aspect of a person like myself, what I would see for him to get better and do better would be the things that he starts to perform on the outside of the ring. You know, expressing himself, you know, in many different ways. That's how you get better. Like he's done what he's done like so far. It's like what are we looking for him to do? What fly? Like, you know, like you know, he's done what he's done so far, you know, and for him to, you know, extend his legacy, you know, just you know, just keep fighting. Even if his performances are mediocre, you know, your outside of the ring performances, as far as, you know, your political standpoints on whatever it may be, on some Ali type things. That's why Ali is the best, because Ali fought through adversity inside and outside of the ring, and he still was able to perform and still hold different titles. Ali lost, Ali came back, and you know, he was up and down, things like that, but he always remained him, and that's all that really matters, because we're not really like looking to be so much better. It's like, wow, like, you know, age, you're fighting time with age, you know, it's a lot of other like competition out here. It's like styles make fights. There's so many different ways that could just erase the whole thing of how better can we see him get. It's like, we don't know. You know, we just want him to just continue and just maintain.
Everybody now is talking about this undisputed fight with Tyson Fury, who holds the Ring
Right.
Magazine, the WBC belt. If that fight was to happen, there are question marks. The WBO have come out and they put a kind of a tweet out and said, the ball's in Eddie Hearn's court. He knew what the deal was. And they're referring to the WBO gave an exemption to have the Ruiz 2 fight. And then they gave another exemption to have the IBF mandatory first. So they're going to, it seems like from their tweet that they are saying that you have to fight Alexander Usyk, who's a mandatory, or you vacate. That's what it's showing as. But let's say there was no Alexander Usyk and it was Joshua and Fury. Is that a tough fight for both of them, or is it easier for one of the other?
No, it's a tough fight for both of them. Every fight is pretty much, well, no, not every fight, but it's a tough fight for both of them. You know, yeah, so it's definitely a tough fight for both of them.
Is Tyson Fury or Joshua, who would you say is 1 and 2, or would you say until they don't fight each other, you just can't say right now?
Yeah, well, you know, the 1 and 2 would basically vary. Tyson has a whole different type of style. And when I say style, I'm not talking in the ring. I'm talking, you know, outside of the ring. He represents a whole different demographic of, you know, people, you know, as far as his mental health issues and his overcoming with a lot of that. And so he will always be respected for that. And he would always be praised for that. And, you know, he's very stoic. He's very humble in a sense. You know, of course he talks a lot, but he's humble with his accomplishments. And he means well with it. You know, we don't want to be a superstar. I don't want to do all that. So he gets respect on a level like that. And you know, his boxing ability is superb. And then you have AJ, superstar, just as well, not as expressive as a Tyson Fury, but you know, holds 4 belts, you know, held 4 belts for, you know, for quite some time, you know, has defended it for quite some time. So the 1 and the 2, basically, you know, superstardom, definitely you would say AJ, basically, because, you know, AJ may gross more or whatever. But when you look at it, it's like, you know, it's a battle. And then, I mean, I could be biased and just say, okay, AJ. But but that's a hard one. That's a hard one to pick, basically. But I would think that different accolades and different levels of boxing is what I would like. So if you was to say this versus this, who would win, or this versus that, who was better? AJ's a bigger puncher. Tyson Fury is a lot slicker. He may be the most complete heavyweight, in the game. But the one or two, it's a hard decision.
Prior to him fighting Deontay Wilder in the second fight, where a lot of people thought Tyson Fury was this fight that sits on the back foot, throws that jab, feints a lot, moves a lot, goes orthodox, southpaw. When he fought Deontay Wilder in the second fight, he ran. When the bell went, he ran to the center of the ring and he attacked. Did Tyson show that he can do something different now, and that confuses anyone who fights him now? Because now he doesn't just fight on the back foot; he can also now come forward and pressure you in a different way.
No, yeah, he definitely can. He definitely showed that, and he definitely showed a whole different side of himself that it's not to think that I didn't think he could do it, but people, we have people that criticize and do a whole lot of things. They probably didn't. They probably doubted him, to a certain extent, to think that, oh, okay, he won't be able to do this and he won't be able to express himself like that. So yeah, it definitely was pretty impressive to do it against, a Wilder, a healthy Wilder or unhealthy Wilder. I don't know.
No, absolutely. I'll end on this as well. You obviously were in the UK before going to Joshua. You were training and helping out Derek Chisora versus Alexander Usyk. Brian, you've been in the heavyweight division a long time. You've been in the game a long time. I know you're like a Malik Scott for me, someone who researches, studies the game, and I can see you going on to be a great coach in the future if you take on that route. But when you look at Usyk and you look at his performance against Chisora, and it's very hard to judge Usyk and Chisora because that was really his first real fight at heavyweight. But given time, can Usyk be a problem for the top 3, 4, 5 heavyweights that are out there?
Yeah, he still can, because he knows how to get away. He has great defense. He can get in there and get out. Well, can't really get in there, but he can get out of there. He can get out of the way, and he can pick his shots. He's quick still. He uses his speed from from cruiserweight. He definitely can. Because the whole objective of the game is to get hit and don't get hit. We're not looking for each fighter to be able to absorb such power from a bigger heavyweight. We're always looking at fighters to literally just, don't get hit. Like, that's the best thing for smaller fighters. We're not looking to get hit and be, to be all bullying in there like that.
No, absolutely. Brian, any latest from you? Are you coming back to the ring anytime soon? Is there an opponent?
Yeah, hopefully February. They open up this whole new bridgerweight thing, and I'm like, I really didn't really want to take part in it until they threw my name in it, and now I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'll mess with it. If it creates an opportunity for me, which it seems as if it has, without me putting in the work, because I have no problem starting from zero back up, so tap it on the side. So, but yeah, so that kind of like, for a little more life. And I'm like, all right, yeah, cool, I'll do that. So hopefully something within February, March that I can agree on and make it happen.
Okay, well, thank you, Brian. Always a pleasure catching up with you. Always generous with your time as well. Only a quick WhatsApp, and you're like, let's do it now. So
yeah, for sure. I thought you was gonna do it a little earlier, which is cool. It's not late here, but but it's late there where you are, So
absolutely. Bryant Jennings, IFL TV. Thank you very much.
All right.
Comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.